Stop worrying and start living. Freedom is the path of letting go of worry. For as we let go of our anxieties, we create the space for growth and peace. What if I told you that the secret to living a happier, more successful life isn't about working harder or controlling every aspect of your future? In fact, it's the opposite. The key to achieving more and feeling better lies in something much simpler: letting go of worry. It might sound too good to be true, but trust me, it's not. Worrying can feel like a natural part of life, something that helps us stay prepared or avoid danger. But what if the more you worry, the more you actually create the very problems you fear? When we're caught up in endless cycles of overthinking, we prevent ourselves from living fully, taking risks, and trusting the process of life. It's not about ignoring your responsibilities or avoiding difficult situations, but about realizing that worrying about every possible outcome only drains your energy and keeps you stuck in a loop of anxiety. In psychology, there's a growing body of evidence showing that when you stop worrying, things actually start to fall into place. The truth is, the more you free yourself from worry, the more space you create for success, growth, and peace. In the following discussion, we're going to dive deep into the psychology behind worry, what it does to your brain and your body, how it affects your relationships and work, and most importantly, how you can stop worrying and begin living more fully. So if you're ready to learn how to stop worrying and start embracing a worry-free life, keep reading. Your journey to less stress and more fulfillment begins now. Section 1. Understanding worry. The psychological mechanisms. Worry is something we all experience. It's that unsettling feeling when we think about what might happen in the future or how things could go wrong. But what exactly is worry, and why do we do it? From a psychological standpoint, worry is a cognitive process where we repeatedly think about potential negative outcomes. In its simplest form, it's our brain trying to predict and prepare for the worst. Worrying is a product of our brain's need to feel in control, to prepare for uncertainty, and to attempt to predict the unknown. At its core, worry stems from the brain's survival instincts. Our ancestors needed to anticipate potential threats, whether from animals, the environment, or other people, to stay safe. In modern life, though these instincts haven't changed, but the threats are less immediate. Instead of worrying about predators, we're concerned with deadlines, financial pressures, or relationship issues. This evolutionary trait, which once helped our ancestors survive, now often leads us to overthink and stress about things that, in the grand scheme, may never even happen. Psychologically, worry often becomes a cycle that's hard to break. It starts with a small concern, and then we begin to imagine possible scenarios, many of which are unlikely to happen. The more we think about these scenarios, the more anxiety we generate, and the more our brain feels the need to worry. We become trapped in a loop where the worry itself doesn't help us solve problems, but only exacerbates our anxiety. This is where the psychological aspect of worry becomes problematic. It doesn't help us achieve anything. In fact, it often keeps us from taking action. It's important to recognize that worry is an emotional response to uncertainty. It's not based on what's happening right now, but rather on our projections about the future. And while it's natural to feel some concern about the future, when it becomes excessive, it can limit your potential, distract you from living in the present, and prevent you from making clear decisions. Section 2. The science behind worrying. What happens in your brain? When we worry, it's not just a passive feeling. It triggers a complex series of reactions in the brain and body. The brain regions that manage fear, threat detection, and emotional responses, such as the amygdala, become highly activated. The amygdala is responsible for triggering the body's fight or flight response, preparing us to either confront a danger or flee from it. While this response can be beneficial in genuinely dangerous situations, it becomes problematic when the danger is imagined, not real. In a typical worry cycle, your amygdala sends signals that induce anxiety, increasing heart rate and blood pressure. As a result, your body enters a state of heightened stress, with the release of hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. While this is useful in short bursts, such as when we face actual physical danger, chronic worry keeps the body in a state of stress over extended periods. This not only impacts emotional well-being, but also takes a significant toll on physical health, leading to sleep disruptions, weakened immune function, and increased susceptibility to illness. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for rational thinking and decision-making, becomes less active during worry episodes. This is important because when the prefrontal cortex isn't fully engaged, our ability to think clearly, process information, and make sound decisions is compromised. Instead of focusing on solutions or rational thoughts, the brain becomes preoccupied with fear-based thinking, which makes it harder to act in a calm and logical way. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on experiences, comes into play as well. The more you worry, the more you reinforce those neural pathways in your brain. Over time, this means your brain becomes more prone to automatic worry responses, making it even harder to break the cycle. In essence, chronic worry can reshape your brain to focus on anxiety and fear, reinforcing the habit of worrying even more. So, the science shows that when we worry, our brain and body react in ways that are meant to protect us, but end up hurting us instead. The more we give in to worry, the more we train our brains to react with fear and anxiety, even when there's no real threat present. Section 3. The hidden costs of worrying. How it affects your life. While worrying may feel like a natural response to stress or uncertainty, its long-term effects can be deeply damaging. We often don't realize just how much chronic worry affects various aspects of our lives, from our emotional health to our relationships and even our physical well-being. Emotional costs. The first major cost of worrying is emotional burnout. Constant worry creates an undercurrent of anxiety that can quickly spiral into more serious mental health problems, like generalized anxiety disorder or depression. The feeling of being in a perpetual state of what if leads to emotional exhaustion, where you feel mentally drained from the constant overthinking. In addition, worry tends to feed into feelings of helplessness and fear, making it difficult to feel confident or optimistic about the future. Over time, this emotional toll can make it harder to enjoy life and even diminish your ability to cope with challenges. Physical health costs. Chronic worry doesn't just affect the mind. It takes a serious toll on the body as well. The constant release of stress hormones like cortisol can interfere with the body's normal functioning. Prolonged stress can disrupt your sleep, leading to insomnia or poor quality rest. This lack of sleep further exacerbates anxiety, creating a vicious cycle. Additionally, studies have shown that long-term worry can increase your risk for serious physical health conditions, such as heart disease, high blood pressure, and digestive issues. Your immune system is also weakened by chronic stress, leaving you more vulnerable to illness. Impact on relationships. Worry doesn't just stay in your mind, it leaks into your interactions with others. When you're caught in the grip of anxiety, it's hard to focus on anything else, including the people around you. Relationships can suffer because worry often leads to irritability, poor communication, and emotional withdrawal. Constantly worrying about the future means you're not fully present in your relationships, which can create distance and misunderstanding. Partners, friends, and family may also feel the emotional weight of your anxiety, and over time, this can strain even the closest of connections. Work and productivity costs. At work, the effects of worry are equally detrimental. Whether it's worrying about your performance, job security, or making a mistake, anxiety can severely impact productivity. Worry drains your mental energy and can make it difficult to concentrate, leading to mistakes and a lack of focus. Moreover, when you're consumed by what might go wrong, you can miss opportunities for growth or innovation. Worry can also hold you back from taking risks or making decisions, which is essential for career advancement. Ultimately, and the more you worry, the less you're able to take the proactive steps needed to succeed. Section 4. How worry limits your potential. Worry may feel like a way to safeguard your future, but in reality, it often does the opposite. It limits your potential. The irony of worry is that rather than helping you avoid failure or achieve success, it typically does the exact opposite by preventing you from acting altogether. One of the most significant ways worry limits your potential is through the fear of failure. When you constantly worry about what could go wrong, you become paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. This fear can make it difficult to take risks, try new things, or push your boundaries. As a result, you're less likely to pursue opportunities that could lead to growth or success. In other words, the more you fear failure, the less you're able to move forward. Ironically, worrying about failure often guarantees it because it keeps you stuck in a state of inaction. When you're too afraid to fail, you never try. And when you don't try, you don't succeed. Another way worry limits your potential is by stifling creativity. Creative thinking thrives on freedom and openness, but worry creates a mental block. Overthinking can prevent you from seeing new solutions or alternative paths to your goals. Your brain becomes consumed with analyzing every possible outcome and scenario, making it harder to tap into innovative thinking. If you're constantly focused on avoiding mistakes, you're less likely to come up with bold ideas or breakthrough strategies. This leads us to paralysis by analysis. This is the phenomenon where excessive thinking and worrying about all potential outcomes can prevent you from making decisions at all. You get stuck in a cycle of overthinking, where the weight of the possible risks overwhelms your ability to take decisive action. The result is that opportunities slip away while you remain paralyzed by the uncertainty of the future. The more time you spend analyzing and worrying, the less time you have to take meaningful action. At the core of all these effects is the inability to be fully present. Worry distracts you from what's happening right now. It pulls your focus away from the task at hand and moves your energy toward imagining hypothetical situations that often never come to fruition. This lack of presence impacts your ability to perform well in any area of life, whether that's at work, in personal relationships, or when facing challenges. In order to unleash your true potential, you need to embrace a mindset that's focused on action, not anxiety. Taking small risks, letting go of perfectionism, and reframing your approach to failure can help you break free from the limits of worry. Section 5. Letting go of worry, a psychological perspective. The first step to breaking free from the cycle of worry is recognizing that you don't have to control everything. Psychologically speaking, worry often stems from our attempts to control the uncontrollable. Our desire to predict and manage every possible outcome leads us to engage in unproductive thinking. while failing to realize that many of the situations we worry about are beyond our control. Once we understand this truth, we can start to release the grip that worry has on our lives. Psychologists have developed several strategies that can help individuals break free from excessive worry. One of the most effective approaches is acceptance and commitment therapy ACT, which encourages individuals to accept their worries without letting them dictate their actions. Rather than trying to control or eliminate the worry, ACT focuses on making room for it and allowing it to exist without interference. The goal is to not let worry control your behavior or prevent you from moving forward in life. This approach helps individuals align their actions with their values rather than their fears. Another valuable tool in letting go of worry is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. CBT helps individuals identify and challenge their irrational thoughts, replacing them with healthier, more realistic ways of thinking. Often, our worries are based on cognitive distortions, such as catastrophizing, expecting the worst possible outcome, or all or nothing thinking. CBT allows you to examine these patterns and replace them with more balanced and rational perspectives. By reframing your thinking, you can break free from the grip of worry and reduce its power over your decisions and actions. In addition to these therapeutic approaches, mindfulness practices can be incredibly helpful in learning how to manage worry. Mindfulness involves focusing your attention on the present moment without judgment or distraction. When you practice mindfulness, you train your brain to be less reactive to intrusive thoughts and worries. Instead of getting caught up in anxious projections about the future, mindfulness helps you focus on what's happening right now. This practice can reduce the physiological and emotional effects of worry, bringing you into a more calm and centered state of mind. Learning to cultivate self-compassion is another crucial step in letting go of worry. When we worry, we often engage in negative self-talk, berating ourselves for not being able to control every outcome. By developing self-compassion, we can reduce these harsh judgments and treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a friend. Self-compassion helps us embrace uncertainty and recognize that we don't need to be perfect or in control to be worthy of love and success. By adopting these psychological tools and strategies, you can start to make peace with uncertainty, reducing the power that worry holds over your life. Section 6. Shifting your mindset from worry to empowerment. One of the most powerful shifts you can make in overcoming worry is transforming your mindset. This shift allows you to move from a state of fear and anxiety to one of empowerment and action. Adopting a growth mindset is central to this transformation. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed over time through effort and perseverance. People with this mindset view challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, rather than as threats to their self-worth or success. This mindset shift helps reduce the fear of failure, as individuals realize that mistakes are not permanent reflections of their abilities, but rather stepping stones on the path to growth. At the same time, it's important to address perfectionism, which often fuels worry. Perfectionism is the belief that everything must be flawless in order to be valuable, and it can cause an overwhelming amount of anxiety. Letting go of perfectionism means accepting that things won't always go according to plan, and that mistakes are a natural part of the learning process. Perfectionism often drives the need to worry about every detail, which, in turn, paralyzes action. Once you realize that you don't need to be perfect to succeed, you free yourself from the grip of worry. Another key to shifting your mindset is releasing the need for control. The more you try to control every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your career outcomes, the more anxious you become. Control is an illusion, and attempting to hold on to it only increases your stress. Learning to trust the process of life and embracing uncertainty allows you to focus on what you can control, which is how you respond to situations, rather than trying to control every possible outcome. This shift empowers you to take action without the paralyzing fear of what might happen if things don't go exactly as planned. Lastly, fostering gratitude can help you shift from a mindset of worry to one of empowerment. When you focus on what's going well in your life, rather than what could go wrong, you begin to rewire your brain to seek out positive aspects of your circumstances. Gratitude trains you to appreciate the present moment and the blessings you have, rather than worrying about what might be lacking or what you fear might happen. This practice cultivates a sense of abundance and peace, reducing the power that worry holds over you. By shifting your mindset, you can free yourself from the grip of worry and embrace a more empowering and fulfilling approach to life. Section 7. The role of trust in reducing worry. One of the most effective ways to stop worrying is to learn to trust. Trust in yourself, in others, and in life itself. Trust might sound like a simple concept, but it plays a profound role in reducing anxiety and fostering a sense of calm. When you have trust, you're not trying to control every outcome, but instead allowing things to unfold naturally. The absence of trust often fuels worry, as we feel compelled to micromanage every aspect of our lives in an attempt to avoid uncertainty. Learning to trust can, quite literally, free you from the endless cycle of worry. Trusting yourself is the first place to start. One of the biggest sources of worry comes from a lack of self-confidence or belief in your own abilities. We often worry about making mistakes or not being good enough. The truth is, no one has everything figured out. Life is a constant learning process. By cultivating self-trust, you acknowledge that you have the ability to handle challenges, adapt to changes, and bounce back from failures. You stop needing to worry about every possible outcome because you trust that you will figure things out, even if things don't go according to plan. Next is trusting others. If you're someone who worries about relying on other people, you may be preventing yourself from building the support network necessary for emotional well-being. Trusting others doesn't mean abandoning caution or being naive, rather. It's about allowing yourself to lean on those who care about you and knowing that you don't have to carry every burden alone. When we trust the people around us, we don't need to worry about handling everything ourselves. Whether it's family, friends, sales, or colleagues, having a solid support system helps lighten the emotional load and allows us to focus on what matters. Lastly, trusting life itself is essential to reducing worry. Life is full of uncertainties, and the more we try to control everything, the more anxious we become. Trusting life means acknowledging that while you can't predict every event or outcome, things often work out in ways you can't always foresee. The universe has a way of unfolding that might surprise you, often leading to outcomes even better than what you could have planned. Trusting that life will provide the lessons, opportunities, and challenges you need to grow can release the anxiety of constantly trying to control the future. When you embrace trust in yourself, others, and the flow of life, you stop viewing the unknown as a threat and instead see it as an exciting possibility. This trust acts as a buffer against worry, allowing you to step forward with a sense of peace and confidence, knowing that even if things don't go as expected, you have the resilience to adapt. Conclusion: embracing a worry-free life. Letting go of worry is a transformative process that can profoundly change your life. It requires a shift in mindset, a reprogramming of the brain, and a commitment to accepting that you can't control everything. By understanding the psychological mechanisms of worry, the brain's response to stress, and the hidden costs it imposes on our mental and physical well-being, we begin to realize that worry does not help us. Instead, it holds us back and limits our potential. As we've discussed, the key to overcoming worry lies in adopting strategies like mindfulness, cognitive restructuring, and embracing uncertainty. When you stop worrying, you give yourself permission to be present, to trust in yourself and others, and to allow life to unfold without constantly trying to anticipate every outcome. This shift doesn't mean you won't face challenges or feel anxious at times. It means you're no longer controlled by fear, but empowered by trust and action. By reducing worry, you free yourself from emotional exhaustion, boost your creativity and productivity, and build healthier relationships. The path to a worry-free life is one of growth, resilience, and learning how to navigate life with trust instead of fear. So, take the first step today. Challenge your worries, embrace the unknown, and move forward with confidence. Life is full of opportunities that are waiting for you, and when you stop worrying, you open the door to those possibilities. Your future, free of constant worry, is waiting to be created. Trust that you have everything you need to thrive and start living the life you deserve today.